everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today is decorating day. I bought this tray quite a while ago and it's been sitting in the cupboard because I wasn't quite sure what to do with it, because I had seen Claire from Claire's Crafty Corner doing a tray similar to this, but her tray had legs on it that you could fold up and use it for your laptop or something like that, or even an eating tray or something. So I thought I would use this, keep it the wood grain, and use it as a little mince pie tray or a cookie tray or something like that for Christmas. So I have sped up this video quite a lot because some of it is quite monotonous. And so here what I decided to do was do a row of trees at the bottom and use a stencil that I'd cut out on my silhouette cutter, and then go around it with some white craft paint. So here I'm just masking off the wood grain part because I didn't want to get too much of it on. I was going to put more on later, dabbing it on around as if there was some snow around. But just for the trees, I just wanted to do those on their own with a stencil so that they were individual rather than having the paint all the way around in the beginning. So here, that's why I masked it off, and I was just using white craft paint, and I was hoping that the trees would come out perfectly as you can see them in the actual stencil. So that was what I was hoping, but as you will see just now, that is not how it actually turned out. I'm not sure why. The craft paint actually went quite rubbery for some reason, and I'm not too sure why. I did actually decide to put it in the sun to dry, and I'm not too sure whether that is why it went a bit rubbery. But anyway, it went rubbery, and as you can see now, as I'm pulling it off, the trees lost a lot of their branches. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. So what I did was here, I just went around them again just to give them a bit of depth to them so that it looked like they were in a little bit of a forest with maybe some snow or something, just to give a little bit of depth to them. I wasn't happy with it, and I knew I was going to change the trees, not change them, but make a plan with them. But I thought I would, because this obviously has to have a sealing coat on it, and I was going to use an aerosol spray. So I thought I wasn't going to change them now. I was going to just carry on with putting on the snow effect all the way around the tray so that I could give it a coat of clear lacquer. Like I said, I wasn't happy with those trees. They didn't look very much like trees in the forest. So, yep, I did have something in mind even here, but like I said, I just wanted to finish off doing a little bit of decorating with the white craft paint. The wood, I decided to keep as wood. I wasn't going to paint it because I thought if I'm going to use it for a mince pie tray, I know a lot of people are like, mince pies, but it's actually fruit mince. It's made from raisins and sultanas and all your fruit mince. We always used to laugh because our family calls them fly cakes because they actually look like they've got dried out flies in them. I love mince pies. I have to say they're probably one of my favorite Christmas things. And so that is what I was going to use it for. So that's why I left it the wood grain. And here I've sped it up, but I am actually outside. And you could probably see in the beginning my little puppy go running out into the garden. But here I'm just giving it a coat of the clear lacquer. It was so hot this day that as I was spraying it on, it was drying. So I wasn't too worried that I was giving it a couple of sprays because it actually sealed really nicely. But yes, I think it was about 30 odd degrees, probably actually to closer to the higher 30 odd degrees that day. So literally as I was spraying it on, it was drying, which was a nice thing. But yeah, and here I just thought I would show you. This is our back garden, and you can see under the little bush there is my little Marshall. He loves being outside, and even when it's hot, for some reason, they love to just lounge outside. Here he was, there he is. He's such a cutie, he really is. So I thought I would just show you. That's our little addition to our family. He's been with us for five months now. He was born on the 7th of July. Right, so here I am doing the alternative to the trees. I thought I would print out white trees and use those on top of the trees that I had stenciled on, because I really was not happy with those trees. They didn't really look like trees. And then this is the mirror vinyl. I thought I would use mirror vinyl rather than black because it would just add a little bit more sparkle, and black is a little bit boring if you're using a wood grain or something like that. Well, I prefer to use something that's a little bit more glitzy and glittery. And then here is just a little family of reindeer that I thought I would put at the bottom by the trees. So I was just getting that ready, and this is my transfer tape. Like I think I've mentioned before, I've got a roll of, I think it's about 400 kilometers long. It's a huge big roll of transfer tape that I used to use when I was mainly doing vinyl stickers for cars and that sort of thing. So I still have a huge roll, and I think it's 90 centimeters, so it's rather large, and it'll probably last me till the day I die. So there we go, transfer tape onto all the stickers. And again, I think I've mentioned before, working from one side to the other and rolling your sticker along, and then you don't get air bubbles. Right, so there we go. I thought that looked a lot better than just the original stencil one. So note to self, that didn't work, so I won't try that again. And here I'm just putting the little family of reindeer at the bottom of the trees. I think the trees looked really pretty after I had fixed them. And here again, just measuring for my wording. That mirror vinyl is really nice, and it actually does print out really well, but you do have to have your blade depth quite deep. Right, just taking off the transfer tape. I thought that little saying was quite cute, freshly baked Christmas joy, because like I said, I am going to be using it as my mince pie tray. And there I just thought I'd add a little bit of snow or clouds or whatever, just to give a little bit of a focal point to the wording. And then just using a little baby wipe to clean off where I had made a little bit of a mess with the white paint. I thought it was looking quite sweet. So I just wanted to decorate around the trees and on the base of the trees a little bit, just give a little bit of glittery sparkle. And there I was just filling in where the stencil and the actual vinyl overlapped. There was little white patches, so I thought I would just fill that in a little bit. It's not so noticeable. And there, I mean, I've sped this up so much that you didn't even see. This is UV silver glitter resin, and I just wanted to put some at the bottom just to give it a little bit of texture as well. And I'm going to be adding something to that too, but this I just put on little edges of the branches of the trees and on the bottom, just to give it a little bit of sparkle. I love the sparkle. And then what I did was, from Temu I got a bag of fake snow, and it's just basically fluffy white stuff. I have no idea what it is, but it's fluffy white stuff. That's it there in a bag. And I mixed it also again with some UV resin, and I was just blobbing it on to the trees. It's not that noticeable. You will see once I've actually put the epoxy resin on. But I was hoping that little bits did actually stick through the epoxy resin, just to give it a little bit of a depth, but it didn't do it there. It did do it at the bottom. You will see later on when I show the end result of the tray. So putting it on the leaves was not that noticeable, but you know what, I did it, so it's not like I think it did give it a little bit of a something. You will see it does give it a little bit of a reflection, and you can see it in the actual end of the tray. But to be quite honest, if I had to do it again, I wouldn't bother. I would do it down the bottom where I had got it thicker, and you could slightly see that the 3D depth of it once the epoxy resin had gone on. So here you can see I'm making it a lot thicker at the bottom. So that's probably why it was more noticeable once the resin top coat had been put on. So in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have done it on the trees, but I did, so it stayed there. And then obviously this and the silver glitter UV resin had to go under the UV light, and I did leave it for a couple of hours just so that the UV resin dried properly. I didn't leave it under the light for a few hours. I left that for maybe 5 minutes or so each round. And then I left it in the craft room with the window. Obviously, it's right by the window and the sun shines through. And so it was nice and hard when I did the epoxy resin. Now this is my new epoxy resin from my new supplier. It really is gorgeous, and I added some of the white. It's a snow glitter. It really is pretty. I didn't put a lot in. I didn't want it too glittery because I was putting it over wording, so I didn't want it too shimmery. It's more of a shimmer than a glitter. So I was just taking my time putting in the glitter or the shimmer because I didn't want it too much. I didn't want it to overwhelm the writing and also the wood grain in between where I had painted with the white. I like the wood grain because that would shine through nicely with the epoxy resin top coat. So here I'm just pouring it on from quite a nice height so that you don't get any micro bubbles. I didn't want any micro bubbles. And I have to say, this resin is really, really nice. You don't have to leave it for too long standing. It does actually get rid of its own bubbles quite nicely. So here I was obviously just scraping it out, and I used 100 grams of resin for the bottom of this tray, and it actually fitted perfectly. I had to seal the bottom of the tray with silicone. I sealed from underneath so that the resin didn't run out. So you can't see that. I didn't do the inside, I did underneath. And here I'm just using my heat gun to get rid of any bubbles that were there. Like I said, I couldn't see any, but I did it anyway just to make sure that there was no air bubbles. And then this is a bag of holographic stars and moons. Also, that's from Temu as well. And I thought I would add that. That would just give it a nice finish, because it is quite plain with the white and the brown. So I thought with the nice mirror vinyl and the holographic stars, it would just give it a little bit of a lift and look more as if it was a night scene. So there I'm just making sure, because some of them were on top of each other, so I was just also pushing them into the epoxy resin so that they weren't floating on the top, and just positioning them around just so that it looked like a night sky. I really thought that that was so pretty. I love those holographic stars and moons. I only put one moon, as you can see, it's above the H and the R, because we only have one moon. We're not like some other planets. We only have one moon. So there, again, I'm just making sure that they are under the epoxy resin. This is a 24-hour epoxy resin. It really does work so nicely. It hardens so beautifully. And like I said, I'm really happy with this supplier of the epoxy resin. So then I left it to dry overnight, and well, I was really happy with how it turned out. You can see the little bits of snow at the bottom of the tray. You can actually even see, if you look closely, the little bits of snow on the tree. So guys, I hope you enjoyed watching me as I decorated my mince pie tray. Again, if you would like to subscribe, I would really appreciate it. If you would like the video, that would be awesome too. And again, until next time, have a great one.